Hi family, my name is Clem de la Creme. Thank you for being here with me right now. Today I want to talk about worry, because it doesn't really help anybody or anything. And over the past few days, I was able to, see people experiencing worry on different ends of the spectrums. And, it all started at an airport. And our flight was getting ready to take off. And they said that the flight was going to be delayed for 2 hours. And right as that happened, myself and other people had just checked our bags because they needed to make space because there were so many, there were so many people. And there was one guy who was just livid. He was furious, talking about how he'd spent so much money on his ticket and how they ruined his business because of things that, because of that. And he took it really personally, and he was stressed out the whole time right there, and shouting at everyone and kind of just trying to drag people's moods down. Some people were affected by him, people who had to deal with the, customer service stuff. They were calm, and they dealt with it gracefully. And then there were, some other people who, some people were like pretty relaxed about it. There was this mother and her son, and the mother was freaking out about how they were going to take care of rebooking their flights and their hotel stay, which the airlines was going to give them a whole night in a hotel, as well as rebook their flights for them. And she was shouting at her son, and her son paused, and he said, "Hey, you don't have to shout. It doesn't help anything, and it doesn't help anybody right now. It doesn't change the situation." And myself, I had been stressed out earlier in the day about packing and taking care of some other things on some other projects in my life. And so earlier in the day I had been stressed out, but as the things were coming my way, I was taking a moment, I was breathing, I was like, what can I do right now to live in the solution and not in the problem? Because if you're stuck in what's wrong, you're not focusing on what's right as well as what can be done. Because there's a lot of things that can be done, as well as there's some things that are outside of our control, and we just have to say, all right, that's what's happening right now, and appreciating what's happening right now. And so by the time the airport situation came around, it wasn't registering on my radar. I took a moment, like, okay, this is happening, and just had to rebook the flights and take care of the next steps involved in getting me to my final destination. And when we did get into the next touchdown of the plane, where people were changing flights to different areas, the guy who had been shouting back at the original point, he was there shouting again at the customer service girl who was trying to help him rebook his flights and trying to help him go on. He was just shouting at her, blaming her, and saying he wanted her name and wanted to talk to her manager. And security came because he was looking violent and angry, and shouting at her, saying you'll be lucky if you're having a job in the morning. And he was adding to her stress and her levels, and this is happening at 1 in the morning. Nobody is particularly happy or excited about having a delayed flight and landing much later than expected, and most people missing their flights. But the poor girl, she took it personally, as well as she held her cool for a while, but eventually she took on his energy. And then she started, getting a little bit worked up and stressed out, and she just walked away. She didn't want to be there talking to him, but part of the thing is, like, that's the job. So she came back and she helped finish booking him, his hotel stay as well as his next flights. And they were able to finish their altercation and their interaction and keep it moving. I don't know how the rest of things resolved there, but the rest of us were watching, from the line. And when I got up to the front of the line, I let her know. I was like, that guy has been shouting since the original takeoff point. He was talking and shouting back then. So don't take it personally. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. And that's also some stuff. He was carrying that for the whole flight. That was like a 5-hour flight. He kept carrying all that negative energy and that pain, that frustration. Myself and other people, we took a moment to just accept and, deal with the situation, look for the solution. How can we, just keep things moving forward. Now, I don't know what situation you're dealing with in your life today or what plot twists and curveballs are happening in your life, but there are actions that can be taken and you can look for solutions. If you're sitting there playing that little fiddle for yourself, wanting to feel bad about yourself, feel bad about the situation, you can do that all day. You can sit there and feel bad about yourself all day and feel bad about your situation all day. Or you can accept the situation and accept life and accept the way things are and say, okay, this is what is happening and what can I do about it? What actions can I take and how can I move forward from here? It's not always easy, when there's the negativity being thrown around and there's all this energy that's being shoved at you. There's sometimes you have to just take a pause, but there are times like myself when I react rather than take that moment to see how I should act, where I get dragged into that energy and I get dragged into the explosion that's going on. But thankfully during that day and that time that was not happening, and I'm really grateful that that happened, that didn't happen, that I didn't have to get pulled in there. But I hope that wherever you are in the world right now, that you are taking that moment to to breathe and to pause, as well as to look around you and realize that everything's okay right now. Things are going to be all right. Life is not going to be fair all the time and things aren't always going to go your way, but that's okay. Things are going to change and things will pass. The feelings are going to pass. The feelings of frustration or anger or sadness, Good feelings pass too, the good times. So when those are there, acknowledge those and appreciate those, appreciate the times when they're there. That's where living in gratitude, that is important. Take time in your day to, say out loud what you're grateful for, write down what you're grateful for. Tell the people in your life that you love them, that you care about them. Let them know that they matter, just like you matter. But I just want you to know that I love you. My name is Clem de la Creme. I look forward to seeing you next time. Oh, and one of my favorite songs is Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy. Take a listen to that song. Hope you smile to yourself like I do. Peace.